such an asshole!
AssholeConsulting.com. Go there if you got any questions. And I, the world's only professional asshole, will answer you, or give you an answer. And unfortunately, I did not find a satisfactory answer for this. I only have theories. I went online and did the better part of an hour, so I actually got underpaid for this. So if anybody knows of any other studies or research out there, I mean, I'm a pretty good set of economic eyes, but I don't make up for a couple thousand other eyes out there. But if anyone has an answer to this young man's question that is more scientific or researched, let me know. But I was forced just to go on theorizing, so I do have to apologize a little bit in advance, but there does not seem to be a concrete answer. No study that I have found, or could find, lack of finding, has been done on this. So it's an interesting economic phenomenon. Nipuna writes, I'm a college freshman studying mechanical engineering. I got a part-time campus job as a fast food worker. Understandably, the job is crappy, with having to stand wearing a stupid apron and make burritos for 4 hours a shift and greet everyone who comes along with a fake smile and get paid just minimum wage. But I have noticed that college jobs where you will be in far better working environments, such as library or admissions office, and are way less tiring. The front office guys at admin watch Netflix all day, pays $8.50 or more an hour. Those jobs require same or even lesser skills than mine, sitting at a desk and scan library books or punching student details into a computer. I've seen this trend even outside college, where fast food workers get paid way less compared to other less difficult jobs that require somewhat similar skills. I know food service requires less skill. I'm not trying to compare it with other serious occupations or ask for a minimum wage hike, an idea I find absurd. Normally, for jobs requiring similar qualifications, the salary is proportional to their level of physical difficulty or training. Just put that out there, because this is going to kind of lead to my next point. But it doesn't seem to be so for food services. Can you please explain what determines the salary of those jobs and why college or most organizations pay more to sit and scan books than they do than to do work on feet all day at the cafeteria? Thank you in advance. All right, well, thank you. So like I said, I tried to do my research. I did do my research, but I came up with nothing. And there's basically two theories that are not necessarily mutually exclusive from one another that I've come up with. But one would certainly play a role in college. One explains college, but doesn't explain the rest of the world. And then one would kind of explain the rest of the world, but not necessarily college. So the first theory, and I've seen this I've empirically seen, even though anecdotally, but I don't know if it actually explains everything. But frankly, I'm amazed how younger people, and people in general, but especially younger people, simply don't ask for more money or have higher standards. Now, one thing I do respect about the millennials, which I could count on one hand, I will admit this, is that the millennials, maybe more out of laziness than anything else, they will not grovel. They will not take whatever job comes along, which I think is actually a good development because you have self-respect. In my day, you took whatever job you could. That's what it is. That's what the baby boomers told us. You take whatever job you can. You should be thankful for a job, any job you can. And we got fucked over by the boomers. I mean, there were jobs where they lied to me about the duties. I got paid bullshit. I mean, and I was under that thing like, oh, I should accept any job I can take, I could accept. The millennials don't. Some are like, fuck it, I'm not taking that job. But still, when you are younger, you don't know any better. You think that, I need a degree before I can ask for a raise. I have to prove it to myself. So there's still that traditional common sense or common wisdom. And people, frankly, just don't ask. They think, well, I got to start somewhere. And food service is an entry-level job, so I might as well take it. They don't stop to ask, well, like, maybe there's better jobs than food service. Food service sucks. Even I knew I didn't want to do that when I was in college. I mean, I'd rather go outside and patrol in below zero weather than sit there and look at people's faces. So I think it's simply not having enough self-respect and saying, well, shit, I'm not going to work this job. I'm going to go somewhere else and go work as a librarian or a librarian's assistant. I'll go work as a security guard, although, in all honesty, they did make you do other things that maybe you don't see. There are other difficulties people have to do or deal with behind the scenes. I don't see librarians, you're indoors, but security, there was definitely physical exhaustion and some other stuff like that. But I think it's just simply people don't say, forget it, I'm not going to. If more and more younger people stood up for themselves, more than the current millennials are doing now, and says, you want me to work food service? Fuck you. And then they all went and worked or knew better, had the self-respect to go and apply at security or apply at the library or apply as the dorm attendant or whatever it is, get, quote, traditional college jobs, then the labor market, the supply and demand, and technically the supply of labor, those changes in the supply of labor would reflect that in wages. People at food service, they would have to pay more because people are like, I'm not working that, fuck you. And then people consequently being dorm attendants would pay less because they say, wait a minute, we got a whole glut of supply of people who want to work dorm assistant, and well, we can pay them as little as possible because if you're not going to take it, I know somebody else who will take it for $5 an hour. So I think that is one thing, is especially at college, you're fresh out of high school, fresh out of the house, you don't know any better. You're just like, well, I guess I'll take this job because you just, well, I guess I got to work any other kind of job. So that is, what I would if I were you. Yeah, apply for security. Go become a librarian and get the fuck out of food service. That's what I would do. So I think it's just that the people in the labor market, the participants, simply don't know any better to go and ask for better or to treat themselves better. So that's one thing. The other thing, and this is the problem, is that might explain it in college where you're young, but that doesn't explain it in the real world where you see the same thing, where it's like, okay, a 40-year-old security guard gets paid more than maybe not necessarily than the 40-year-old janitor. So what's going on there? And there, it isn't necessarily that you don't know any better, because by that time you're a mature adult. You know that there are other jobs out there. You have the self-respect. You're not taking any kind of job as a good job. At that time, all bosses are dickheads and all jobs suck. So you're like, fuck them, I'm going to screw them over as much as I can. So then what I think it really boils down to is that to the untrained eye, there may not seem to be a difference in qualifications to work, say, food service versus the dorm attendant. But there probably is that you don't see. For example, the dorm attendant, you don't have to be a genius to do it, but you can't be a criminal because you're in charge of, little girls, college-age girls, and their safety. So it's maybe not even necessarily skills, but you need to have certain standards that a lot of the population does not. So to be a janitor or to be a food service person, to be any one of these type of low pay but not fun jobs, you may, how can I put it? If you are a criminal, or not, let me rephrase it this way. In order to work in the cushy jobs, in the sit-down, air-conditioned librarian jobs, where there's just a touch more responsibility or there's a hint of managerial responsibility, they need someone who's reliable. And one of those things is they can't have criminals, people who've been fired a lot, ex-cons, pedophiles, sex offenders, stuff like that. So now you actually do have a two-tiered, two-categoried labor market. One is kind of the didn't fuck up their life crowd. They're not trained. They're not specialized. Anyone can do this job, but they didn't fuck it up, so they're more trustworthy on paper anyway. And so they're given the library job, they're given the dorm attendant job, they're given these jobs that don't require a lot of training, but they do have a certain amount of imbued trust or reliability that is required of them. Then there's if you're an ex-con, it doesn't matter. If you're a pedophile, we don't care. Go sweep the streets, Joe. Go wash the dishes, Amy. And so that's where you probably would see it more in the real world. So it's kind of like the embryonic stages of proto-management. You're not really a white-collar worker. You're not a manager, or director, or a supervisor, or anything like that. But that's kind of where the white-collar seeds are planted, where it's like, okay, at the age of 18, you have no experience, you have no education, what are we going to go on? Well, let's take a look at your criminal record. Do you have one? No, you don't? Okay, well, we can trust you to drive the truck, Bob. Oh, but Steve over here, Steve has a criminal record, or he has child support payments, or he has a bad record with the school he just came from. Well, I wouldn't trust Steve with the girls in the dorm, but I will trust Steve to go and haul out the garbage. Because but again, in college, typically, this is why it doesn't apply in reverse, you're not dealing with criminals and pedophiles. Usually you would have, well, I don't know, do you have to go through a criminal background check now in college? I'm just saying in college you don't have these criminals or hardened 35-year-old former gangster, hardened felons working there. Everyone is pretty universal or standard in terms of exchangeable labor units. So that's the there's drawbacks to my theories. There's flaws in them because it doesn't apply universally in college and after college. But it might explain where it comes to simply not asking or demanding better employment or a better job because you don't know any better, which would explain the college scenario. But then after college, where it's these, well, hey, you need someone who's reliable, maybe inexperienced, and you don't need a lot of skills to do the job, but you need reliable and safe and non-criminal to do it, versus, wait, I can't even trust you with that, but here are some jobs that we don't really care how bad of a person or how criminal of a person that you are. So I hope that answers it. Again, if there's anyone out there who is aware of this in economic circles that have done research on it, let me know. I couldn't find anything. I even reached out to a buddy of mine. I don't know what I always think. He works at the Fed. He's like, what the hell do you think? I do regulatory shit. I don't know anything. I mean, I find you talk me. I might know somebody, asshole. So anyway, best of luck to you. Good to see you in mechanical engineering. Keep kicking ass. And yeah, dude, look into security. Look into some other job. Don't give up your food service job. Make sure you got that. But then, yeah, definitely. I cannot tell you how much of a blessing working security was to me and how pivotal, even to this day, how it plays a pivotal role in my life. So best of luck to you. Toodles.